How's it going, everybody? Can you hear me? A slightly weird angle today. Just let me know if you can hear me. Put it into the chat. Awesome. Okay, cool. This is gonna be a little different than normal. I'm at my parents' house in California. And so I'm sitting just at the counter here. We got a Christmas tree, living room with Poseidon. Hey, say hi. What's up, buddy? It's my dog. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's the lake is out there. It's quite a nice view here. This neighborhood's pretty unbelievable. Where my parents live now. It's called Lake Sherwood. It's a pretty crazy neighborhood in Southern California, about an hour north of 45 minutes to an hour north of LA. It's like basically right halfway between LA and Santa Barbara. We have the smallest house in this whole neighborhood, and there's basically two sides of the neighborhood. It's this big gated community, and on the other side is where like Wayne Gretzky and Britney Spears and Pete Sampras and Tiger Woods and all these people have houses here. Their houses are like, $25 million. It's outrageous. Ours is not that at all. This is only like 1,400 square feet. It was built in 1924. So it's old, but it's this really cool house. There's 43 stairs just to get up to the house. So my parents are always going to stay in shape just because they have to do that. If any of you guys are willing to turn on your cameras, it's always nice to have some sort of feedback from people's faces. And this is not the neighborhood where I stole the lemons. They were not Wayne Gretzky's lemons, but I did. He's actually quite a nice guy. Of a lot of the celebrity type people, he's probably the most genuine, normal dude out of them. He also likes to play tennis and stuff. And so there was this Australian tennis coach I had who was his like best friend when I was younger. So thank you guys for showing up on a Sunday here. I've never done this. So I just figured, you know what? Screw it. Let's do a Sunday webinar and see how many people show up and come and have fun. I feel like I want to do things a little differently than normal. I have all my slides and stuff from the sort of 1 hour Workday presentation that I normally give. Sorry, that's Poseidon's decided to drink water very loudly right as this has started. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but so I'm going to go through the slides, but I feel like kind of just doing things differently in a way. And I don't know what that means at this point, but any questions, especially there's only 17 people on here right now, which is, quite a bit smaller than normal. So I'm happy to answer any questions, go through stuff with you guys as we're going through, make it interactive, have fun with it, and see if there's anything unique that we can do today that we haven't done in the past. So let's hop to it here. And again, I normally have I have my two monitors and stuff, but I just have my one laptop here. So let's see if you guys can see everything, and we'll go through. I'm probably not going to be able to see the chats right at this second. So just put your questions and stuff in the chat. You can always unmute yourself if you want to, and I will be looking at it periodically as we're going through. It still shows up on here. So let's just hop into it. Also, I'm playing fantasy football. I unfortunately lost in the semifinal, and so I'm playing for third place right now, which I think we get like $500 or something. But one of my guys just scored, and I'm going to not look at it for the rest of the time. So what we're going to go through today is how to make a living and have a life. And, I find it kind of funny. This is the first time I've done this on a Sunday, and I don't really ever work on weekends or do much. But I I kind of like working on Saturdays. I tend to get really good work done on Saturdays because there's no expectation that I'm supposed to get anything done. I find that I'll either go to a coffee shop or I'll just, work for a couple hours at the house and just really enjoy doing it, or I'll just write stuff that I want to write. I've been back on writing 2,000 words a day, and it's just been really rewarding to do that again. And so, what's kind of interesting here, full circle of the fact that we're doing this while I'm here at my parents' house, is this is the house that I think we moved here when I was like 19 or so. So I was in college, and I guess it's been 10 years. And so after college, my parents were in Germany for a while playing tennis. And so I actually had the house to myself. And then they came back for a bit. And so I lived here for a little bit after college. And I would sit at this countertop. It didn't have a dog leash on it and stuff. It's actually a really cool counter. It's this weird, like Brazilian stuff. But so I would sit right here, or I would stand right here. And I had this, I would literally take like Amazon boxes and I would put them there. And then I would put my yellow notepad on top and I would hand copy sales letters. And I would do that for an hour every day, no matter what. That was how I started my day, as I'd hand copy these sales letters. And, my mom would always be like, when are you going to get a real job? What are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? What? Just use your degree, go get an accounting job, or go, do something. I'm like, I'm not going to get a job. I'm never going to do that. And my dad would say, when are you going to give up on this? When are you going to stop? And, at what point will you've spent enough money on products and tried enough stuff that you're going to just sort of give up? And I just said, never. There's no way I'm not going to do this. Like, there are other people making a living online who are writing stuff and people are buying stuff and they have all of this freedom. And so I was like, there's no way, if other people can do it, there's zero chance that I can't figure it out. And so, now what, it must be about 7 years later, being in a position where, I now make more in a month than my parents would have thought I would have made, maybe I make more in 2 months than I would have made in a year at most, even just like, nice 6-figure jobs. And so it's just kind of cool to see what happens if you're willing to dedicate yourself to a practice. And, it's actually, I didn't even think about this. It was an hour. It was an hour of each day that I would put into developing the skill of writing copy. And then I got a job making $20 an hour writing copy. And then that's turned into, when I do consulting, getting paid $2,000 an hour for this skill that I was willing to develop without making any money at the time. And so I think it's just a good testament to the fact that if you're willing to commit to a practice and to learn a skill, that it will pay off in the long run. So many people are chasing quick money, they're chasing tactics, they're chasing techniques and, different, like, very short-term ways to try and make money. And the reality is, if you're willing to invest in learning skills and building assets, that's something that's going to pay you forever. And so that's basically what we're going to talk about. And if you guys have any questions about sort of any of the path of how I ended up, in this position, feel free to let me know. Do I send out an email to sell a product on Christmas Day? Yeah, I'm sure I will. I email pretty much every day. So, and so I've got the impression from other copywriters that you write really fast. Do you think that's true? If so, do you have advice on how to emulate that? Poseidon, you got to chill, dude. Why are you being a dick? Sit. Lay down. Sorry, he's not in his normal environment. So I can come back to this a little more at the end. I actually think what I'm going to do is do a writing challenge for the new year, because it's such a valuable thing to learn how to write and write fast and write well, no matter what you do, whether you end up being a copywriter, whether you write emails or not. It's such an invaluable skill to learn how to communicate effectively through the written word. I do write really fast. When I talk to other people, I find out just how fast I am. When I sit down and write, I typically write about 2,000 words an hour. And a lot of my friends struggle to get 500 to 750 words done in a day. And so I do write really quickly. There's a few reasons for that. Some of it's the meditations that I do. And then a lot of it's allowing myself not to judge myself. But let's come back to that towards the end, because I do want to go through some of this stuff. And then looking back at all the hand copying help, absolutely, 100%. hand copying is one of the most useful things a human being could ever do in a multitude of different ways. Just learning how to write well and communicate effectively is invaluable. And so, there's an email I used to send out, and maybe I'll send it out again soon, that an old girlfriend I had, she wanted to write children's books. And so I was like, well, if you want to write children's books, what I would do is I would just hand copy 10 best-selling children's books. And there's no way you couldn't at least write something decent after doing that. So if you sit down and you're willing to, by hand, write things out, you will 100% improve at what you're doing. There's no way you couldn't. Okay, and I'll go through some of these other questions more as we're going along. And of course, my computer's been weird. It keeps making the mouse disappear. So I'm going to go through this stuff. This is Poseidon. I'm not going to tell you guys the whole Poseidon story. You may have read it, of how he was supposed to die and how he didn't end up dying. That's us at the Grand Canyon this year. And about exactly a year ago, we went from the top to the bottom, back to the top in one day. It's like this 20-mile trek that you're not supposed to do because you're supposed to get sick from altitude and throw up and all this stuff, but we did it anyway. And that's him right here, standing here being a bit of an asshole. So I want to show you guys the 1-hour workday system. And really, I call it the 1-hour workday because you can easily run a business this way in an hour a day. You can actually do it in 20 minutes if you'd like. Or you can work a few more hours if you'd like. These days, it always fluctuates. I probably work 3 hours a day right now. I've been really enjoying what I'm doing. I'm growing the business quite a bit. But if I want to maintain, I can work 20 minutes a day, just send an email and be good. The point of it is not necessarily this idea of how much time. It's really committing to something that can grow without you having to put more time in. And what's super cool is I got an Instagram message from this guy, Ron Mackey, a couple of days ago. He's a football coach and a school teacher. And while he was coaching football, teaching classes, he was also getting his master's degree. And I think he has 2 or 3 kids. And he was dealing with all of that. And his business has now grossed over $100,000 this year. He's done 6 figures from his business, all while doing all that other stuff. And it's an incredible story. He may quit teaching after this year. And he said a huge portion of that is because of the stuff that I've taught him. And so that's really cool. And it's really about freedom. That's what this is about. It's about having the freedom to travel, having the freedom to spend time with your family, or whatever that means to you. It's about having the freedom to do the things that you want, not trying to live by somebody else's standards or ideas. So for me, I like to travel. I like to have fun. I also enjoy the work that I do. I like making videos. I like doing whatever. So sometimes I work more, sometimes I work less. It really doesn't matter the amount of time. It really comes down to, are you getting to live a life in a way that you really enjoy? And that's what's most important, because so many of the things that people teach online are how to build businesses, but they end up basically taking over your life and consuming you. And you don't actually spend time with your family. You don't actually travel to the places you thought you were going to go to. And it's not really worth it. What's the point if you're not going to do the things that you actually want to do? So I'm going to show you guys how to build a scalable asset that can make you money for the rest of your life, where you don't have to work more. And that's what I'm talking about. When I say time independent, it means that you can grow the asset without having to scale your time to scale the asset. And most people don't think about that. So I'm going to show you how to create an almost passive income source that generates between $1,000 and $100,000 a month, or we're working less than an hour per day. Again, it's totally up to you how much you want to work, but it's absolutely doable in less than an hour a day. If you guys don't know me, this is my weird accent. I'm half English and half American, which means everyone thinks I'm Australian. Every single day of my life, people ask me if I'm Australian. Why should you listen to me? #humble brag time. I used to live in a mobile home. When I was in college, basically, I was trying to make money online, and I just kept buying a bunch of different products and returning them and not actually succeeding. And then finally, when I committed to basically learning how to write emails that made money, I started making, $20 an hour writing copy. Then it was a few grand a month. And then I launched my own product, teaching people how to write emails that make money, and ended up we did 12 grand that week to my friend Derek Johansson's list, which was $6,000 to me, which I made 6 grand in a week, and I was making 3,500 a month. It was pretty incredible. And so that little list of people ended up making me $55,000 in my first year, all from working maybe 3 hours a week on the side while I had a full-time job. And so since then, I've doubled my income every year without increasing how much I work. I've always found it very important to put my life first. So I put life first, and then I let my business fit in around the edges of what's important to my life. Most people build their business and then they let their life fall in around the edges of where they have this free time. But the reality is, if you don't put life first, then it's always going to be secondary, and you're always going to be putting, money or the business or these things in front of what actually matters to you. And so it's really important that you don't do that. I've sold over $100 million of the products online last few years. People pay me a whole lot of money to write for them. My starting rates are 25,000. And what's important though for you guys to understand is that you don't have to have all this experience and all of this background in writing and in making a bunch of money online in order to succeed with this. If you can write emails to a friend, then you can make this work. And so we're going to talk about that a little more. This is for anybody, business owners, people who want to make a living from their laptop without a lot of work. Anybody who's already a copywriter in some fashion, this is really a no-brainer. And so this is something I'd love for you guys to comment in right now. And if you think about it this way, is let's say I become president for a day and I say you are legally only allowed to work 1 hour per day. What are you doing with the other 23 hours? Let's assume you sleep for 8. Most people don't sleep that much actually, but what are you actually going to do? How are you going to spend your time? What would you do? What would an ideal day look like if you were legally only allowed to work 1 hour a day? Poseidon, you got to chill, dude. What is the deal? Go. So just write into the chat what you guys would do. I want you guys to get that feeling of what it's actually like to work an hour a day. Like, how would you spend your time? Would you go to the gym every day? Would you spend a few hours with your kids? Would you travel? What are the things that you would actually do? What do you enjoy most? Like for me, I've spent quite a bit of time traveling over the last couple of years. I've been to Europe a handful of times, been down to South America, Central America, gone scuba diving and gotten, done all sorts of weird physical challenges and gone to Iceland and gone into cold water baths and all sorts of stuff. This next year, hopefully we're going to be climbing Mount Kilimanjaro shirtless. I know that's weird, but climbing Mount Kilimanjaro shirtless to set a world record with this group of people. And it's like, that's something that I can't necessarily do if I have, a normal job. So here we have, did you have a copy chief during 20 hours? I didn't have a copy chief in the traditional sense, but I had the best way to learn anything online is to actually test stuff. So I would get data back and I learned what worked and didn't work. Poseidon, what is your deal, dude? You're being so weird. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do about my dog right now. I can't just let him out because nobody's here, but he's being really odd. I'd spend more time traveling, exploring my city, working on my own mental and physical health. All right, 1 person responded. Awesome, really good engagement, you guys. Super stoked that you guys are willing to put this out. I'd grow vegetables for my kids, read more. And this is something that's really important, is to identify what actually matters to you. The problem is, so everything follows something called Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law basically states that you fit the amount of work you have into the amount of time you allot for that work. So the best example is when you're in school and you have a paper due and you've got 30 days to write this essay. And then one day before the essay, you've written exactly 0 words. And somehow you write this entire paper in one night that was supposed to take you 30 days. And that's what Parkinson's law is basically you expand the work to fit into the time allotted. So if you don't have anything exciting to do every day, then you're not going to work that well because you don't have a reason to be done working. So like today, after this, I'm going to go play tennis. I'm going to go for a run with my dog. I'm going to hang out with my family. Like I have stuff that I'm going to be doing that I want to do. Therefore, I want to get through the things that I'm doing so that I'm not just working for the sake of working to fill time. And that's what a ton of people do. So it's important to identify what you actually like and what you would do if you had a ton of free time. Okay. Just keep going here. Again, I've lost this bloody mouse. I don't know why that keeps happening. It's so odd. Okay. So that was basically it. I just wanted you to imagine that. Within this is basically what we're, and I'm not going to go into all this right now. If you guys have gone through the money morning product, then you'll have seen the 3 types of money. Maintenance money, which is just tasks that you do that maintain the money you're already going to make. So if you have a salary, if you have a traditional job, basically all of your money is maintenance money. Money now is any new money that's going to come in within the next 1 to 30 days. And then money later is anything that's going to bring in new money within the next 30 to 90 days or more. And so basically what I teach within here is a combination of money later and money now, and building an asset that can make you money, not just today or tomorrow, but in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, 2 years from now. And it's really important to understand that time and money are not related. There's this idea in our society that, time is money. That's a thing that people say. And if you've read my book, then you've read the whole chapter on time and money and how it's all a bunch of bullshit, essentially. But this concept is completely flawed, and it's based on the Industrial Revolution and wanting to keep track of people's time in order to, it's basically very convenient to pay somebody an hourly wage, because you can say, how much did you work? Okay, this is how much your time is worth. But the reality is, if you're focusing on the right type of work, then you don't have to put in more time to make more money. And it's really important to understand that. And for me, I have this very weird life where essentially the more fun I have, the more money I make. So when I focus on putting fun first, money follows that fun. And that's very unusual. Most people find it that their life is in fact the opposite, that they have to go to this job that they hate or do work that they hate in order to make money, in order to keep on living a life that they don't actually enjoy. It's actually quite insane how most people live. And so within this sort of system that I teach, I find it to be really important to try and identify things that you actually love doing, rather than just trying to chase money for the sake of chasing money. And this all brings me back to email and why email is my favorite long-term asset. And the reason I love email so much is because you can repurpose it. You can use it over and over again. I always, since I was a kid, liked things that basically had long-term value. So when kids would get money, they would go and they'd buy candy bars, or they'd buy, some sort of thing that didn't last very long. And what I did is I would buy an iPod or a TV or something that I knew was going to last me a couple of years, because I saw the value in something that was going to last for a while. And so it's important, if you're just writing sales letters for other people and that's all you're doing, or you're writing just a bunch of stuff that's only can be used once, well, that's a bit of a waste. When it comes to email, I think I have it in here, you can send it to your list, right? So you have an email list, you send them emails, they buy stuff. You have the initial send. That's going to make you money. You can resend it. You're going to make half to 75% of the first time. You put it in an autoresponder, and then that thing makes you money forever. You can send it to affiliates. You can do paid email drops. So essentially, when you write one great email, you can use that great email to make yourself money for the rest of your life. Why let it die off? That's what most people do with the things that they do, is they make them money once and that's it. And that's a huge problem. That's not what you want to do. And so the other thing about email, Poseidon, you really got to stop, dude. I don't know what your deal is. Can you please chill? I don't know what he's doing. The thing about email is it's infinitely scalable, independent of your time input. So if you have 1,000 people on your email list, and then you grow that list to 10,000 people, you now are going to make 10 times more money. And then if you grow it to 100,000, you're going to make 10 times more money again. But the difference is you don't have to put in any more time. Writing an email to a list of 1,000 people is the same exact amount of effort as writing an email to a list of 100,000 people. That's why this is infinitely scalable, independent of your time. So when it comes to exponential outcomes, it basically means having a small fixed input that can lead to hugely large returns. And that's what email can do. So as the list continues to grow, your workload doesn't change. You just continue to do the same thing and make more and more money. And that's honestly pretty amazing. And true wealth, this is, I think Naval Ravikant has said this as well, is true wealth is owning assets that earn money while you sleep, or, fill in the blanks, do whatever it is that you want to do. And that's really important. Like every day when I wake up, I've made money in my sleep. That's a pretty great feeling. It's become normal to me now to a degree. So it's kind of like, I don't get that same rush I used to get, but it's important to remember that and realize that, hey, dude, you gotta fucking stop. I don't know what to do with you. Sorry, guys. So, and this is just my background with email. And the really the most important thing to hit on here is that you can make, you know, $50,000 from a couple hours a week from just one little list if you use the right strategies, which is what I teach. And this really is the simplest business model that exists. You get traffic. So it could be Facebook, it could be other people's lists, it could be Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, blog posts, Pinterest, and you send them to a page where they give you their email, and then you send them emails, which you can also automate. That's it. So there's nothing new there. I'm not showing you anything revolutionary. If you've been around in the online world for any time, you've heard that probably a lot of times. But the difference is how to make it simple and how to make it something you can really do. And I truly believe this is if you can send emails to a friend, you can make a living online. If you can write a message that gets your friend to watch a video, that gets them to look at something, that's all you need to be able to do. That is the extent of your skills. You don't need to be a professional writer. You don't have to have world-class prose and incredible sentences and imagery and all this stuff. If you can send emails to a friend, you can succeed online. And this is another really important piece about email that is really, really important to understand, is that when you have an email list, you own that email list. So you own that data. So if I don't know how many of you guys are aware, but basically with Instagram right now, all of the reach has been dramatically throttled back. It happened with Facebook a few years ago. I used to put out a video, it'd go to 50 to 100,000 views with no ad spend. Now that same video might get 4,000 views. And what happens is YouTube there was a guy I knew who he had a 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. YouTube basically pulled his account and now he's a personal trainer again, making $50 an hour, and basically had to go back and restart his life. And he was so frustrated by it that he wouldn't even try building a business online again. But YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they're great platforms, but they own that data and they can end you whenever they want. Email is something you own. Even if your email service provider, like I use ActiveCampaign, if they were to just delete everything, I have my lists downloaded, I can still make money from those. It's something you can make money from forever. I've got it's a friend of mine, Joel Marion, he runs this 100 million mastermind, which I'm in this group. It's ridiculous. It's $100,000 a year to join, which is a lot of money, but I decided it was worth it. And it definitely has been worth it. But Joel has a side business that he does $1 million a month from just sending emails about fitness stuff. It's crazy. So the most important thing of sort of what I'm showing you here is how to do it faster, how to do it easier, and how to use the right traffic sources, because the right traffic sources play a huge role in how good your list is and the quality of that list. So here are the secrets of the things that I'm actually going to show you here. And these are really important to understand when it comes to really making money online, is that, hold on. If you want to make a lot of money or no money, go big. So be like, I'm going to help people get a six-pack. You're either going to completely bomb, which is what most people do, or maybe you'd get lucky and you end up succeeding really big. But the reality is, if you want to make some money, you want to go tiny and you want to go deep. You want to pick a very small niche within a niche. And then you want to serve those people really well. There's this incredible article called 1,000 True Fans. It's by this guy, Kevin Kelly, who's this billionaire. And he said, he basically says, if you can get 1,000 true fans, you can make six figures a year in basically any industry. And the amazing thing about the internet is it now allows us to find these people anywhere. It might be people who are specifically into, it could be any sort of weird space within a space. So even if you want to think about it, I'm going to do an example in 2020 of a dog health business. And so I could go after the health of dogs. And the issue is that's a lot of different dogs. And if somebody said, hey, opt in to get my free report about how to improve your dog's health, I would not do it. But if it was how to specifically improve the health of your husky, because I have a husky, now I'm completely more qualified. And I'm thinking, okay, this is actually going to be unique information. Now, obviously, there's a lot less huskies than there are dogs. but Husky owners are incredibly passionate owners. And if you built a list of 1,000 people who have Huskies, who love their dog, you can make a full-time living off of that list. You can make a few $1,000s to $10,000 or more from even just 1,000 people on that list. And that's important to go smaller in those spaces. And so an example, and I think I have this here, is, and these are just a couple of the myths of stuff that people learn online, is you need to have a huge list. You know, my list is, when I send my full list, it's still only 7,000 people within this space, and it does 6 figures a month. It's not about the size of the list, it's how you use it, which I know is a cheesy thing to say. It's not hard if you have a small list. In fact, a lot of things are easier when you have a small list, because it's easier to get delivered. It's easier to build a relationship with those people. It's actually a lot easier to have a smaller list, especially early on. And, you know, and I already said this football coach, and I'll show you guys something he wrote towards the end of this. But Ron Mackey he's a football coach and a teacher who just made 6 figures from his side business. And he literally teaches football coaches how to score more points. How obscure is that? He is a football coach teaching football coaches how to score more points, and they're willing to pay him, and pay him well, to help him with this. It's pretty remarkable. So there's a niche for everything. If there's something that you love doing, there's a group of people who will pay you to learn about that or to buy products around that idea. And you don't have to create your own products either. I actually don't recommend doing that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you can literally benefit from these really rich companies who will pay you to sell their stuff, and they'll pay you more than they pay themselves to make that sale. So this is actually funny timing, because I'm actually doing what I said I would do. If I had to start from scratch, if I took away all my skills and all of my background and stuff, what I would do is I would create a list about Crohn's disease. So I have Crohn's disease. It's a autoimmune disorder that basically you end up, without trying to be too graphic, for a lot of people, you know, I had diarrhea 8 to 9 times a day. I was losing weight rapidly. I went from 200 pounds to about 165 pounds. I was in pain every day. And 70% of people with Crohn's get part of their small intestine surgically removed. 99.99% of them are on prescription drugs. I've never taken any prescription drugs for it. I haven't gotten any surgeries. And I basically have healed my gut through diet. And then the supplement that I found, which is this supplement that it's literally, the story's crazy. It is grown in the Himalayas on a mountain that is only accessible by foot. And the ingredients are so pure from that soil that they've tried to grow it in other regions to save on costs. And they can still grow the ingredients, but the supplement stops working. And this supplement has dramatically changed my life. I weigh 200 pounds again. I'm the healthiest I've been probably in my whole life. And this has had a huge effect on me. So I'm actually buying out this company essentially and getting that supplement. And I'm going to go into gut health in general because I have experience. I want to go bigger and help a ton of people. But I'm specifically still going to start by helping just people with Crohn's, because I can tell my story and really identify with those people. And if I were to go into, let's say, just gut health in general, and I tell my story about Crohn's, people are going to, it's a good story and it's true and it's this powerful story. But the reality is a lot of people are going to think, well, mine's not that bad. I get indigestion sometimes after I eat, or they take antacids. And antacids, by the way, are one of the worst things humans could consume. They are terrible for you. And my dad takes them every day, and I want to get him off of them. It's so bad for you. And so, at this point in my career, I'll go into a bigger space because I feel like I can compete. But if I was starting out, and even this is still what I'll do in the beginning, is specifically reach out to people with Crohn's, because they're going to identify so much with my story. So does that make sense to you guys? It's sort of like thinking of it as like a sniper versus a shotgun, right? Your pinpoint accuracy, you're deciding this is the type of person that I want to help. I'm just going to help those people. And then you can always grow bigger later. I have a client that I've worked with, a company that's called Paleo Secret. And so they were called Paleo Secret when paleo was becoming a big health trend. And that helped them grow to about $15 million a year just within that space. But what they found is that they couldn't really expand any bigger, because calling themselves Paleo Secret, was basically reducing the size of the market they could go after. So all they had to do was they rebranded. They call themselves Native Path now, and now they've been growing bigger and bigger. But had they not started smaller and used that name, then there's a good chance they wouldn't have become as big as they did. So you want to start with that really small niche, really hyper-focused, and then go bigger from there. Here's my dad, just walked in the house. I told them I was doing a webinar, so they will be quiet. My mom's not here. And let me see, I know some comments came through here, so let me pull these up. Does that make sense to you guys? Is that helpful to understand the difference between going big versus going small? Yeah, a couple of you guys messaged me about the gut health stuff. If you shoot me an email, ian@feedthewolf.com, we can talk, another time about that stuff. About to do a call. Hope you're making the replay. Thanks. Sure, mini monopoly. Yeah. So basically, you want to take over this small little space and become, known within that little space, as opposed to trying to take over some huge thing. And this is a really important thing to understand as well, is that you don't need to be an expert. You just need to be a trusted advisor. So what I actually call it now is being a trust dealer. So not a drug dealer. Ironically, I will be dealing supplements again, not drugs, but I will be dealing those. But trust is the currency that I turn into money. So people trust me, and you basically use that trust as this form of currency that people then go, you know what, I trust you, I'm going to buy your stuff. So with my own list, within the how to make money and write copy and, improve your life type of stuff, I can release products without much of a sales page and stuff, and people are going to buy them because they trust me. They've bought my products before. They've made a lot of money with them. They know that I follow through. And so if you become a trust dealer, it makes your life way easier. You don't have to be that good at everything when people trust you. And so I have these examples here. This guy, Rusty Moore, who's a buddy of mine, has a list in the health space and makes a great living from it. And he's had the same list for the last, 10 years. He's had these people on his list, and he continues to make money from them because he's trusting and he's true and he's honest and he's not one of these scammy people online. And then I have a buddy who's one of my best friends in the world, who he likes to keep himself sort of underground as far as his business is, but he actually sold his business this last year for high six figures. And he was not an expert at all. All he did was recommend products to people. Never had one of his own products, and he sold his business for like, $700,000. And he had VAs doing almost all of his work. He was working like 20 minutes a day, and he was able to sell that and walk away from it and do whatever he wants. And so what it comes down to is trust. This is the core piece that you have to understand, because being an expert is hard. And even, Russell Brunson, who started ClickFunnels and all these things, he wrote a book called Expert Secrets, and he said he made a mistake because most people don't think they're experts. And the reality is, becoming a true expert is not easy or fast. Becoming a trusted advisor is incredibly easy. All you have to do is recommend trustworthy sources to people. And if you have trust, you're going to turn that into money. And I know we're getting people commenting through here. Just purchased 80/20 email copy. How do you suggest leveraging the training to do client work? So that's a little separate from this, Robert. If you actually shoot me an email, like I said, ian@feedthewolf.com, or by the way, the easiest way to actually, if you guys ever want to talk to me, is to message me on Instagram. It's like the one place where I just make sure that I actually respond to stuff. So if you ever write to me on there, I will probably respond to you. Oh, Ryan, you work for Viome? Interesting. Yeah, we should chat more. I don't know if there's a book called Trusted Advisor. I did not know that. I don't know what that book is, so I could not recommend it, but I like the name. It's maybe worth a read. Yeah. So again, I've lost the bloody mouse. I don't know what is going on here. Okay, mouse is back. All right. Okay, there are two ways to build your list that are dramatically more valuable. So this is the third secret. it's basically other people's lists. So this is really important to understand is if you build a list from other people's lists, you're basically ensuring that the people that are getting onto your email list are people that are proven to open, click, and engage with emails. So if you take somebody, for example, who is avid on, who's a huge Facebook fan or Instagram, right? Just because somebody is on Facebook a lot doesn't mean that they engage with emails very often, right? So I actually have a lot of buddies who they run a lot of Facebook traffic, and what happens is about half of the people who opt into their list never open an email because they're not the type of people who are used to opening emails. So instead, and Facebook's a great traffic source, and there's actually the second source in here is there's a way to get Facebook to basically send you traffic for free. They actually essentially pay you to get traffic. And so that's something that I cover within the whole 1 hour workday system. But this one is really important to understand. And this is actually how Joel Marion built his business they did 100 million in their first 12 months, literally just by using other people's lists. That's it. Because basically you're saying there are other people who already have people from your audience who want to buy your stuff. And all you do is you go to that person, you pay them a commission, or you pay them a small amount to get them to send people to opt into your list. And that's how Joel went from zero to, doing $1 million a month on a side business in like the matter of months. It's how I went from doing $0 on my own business to making 55,000 my first year, was just one affiliate from one list. That's it. Had I just been doing that more, if I did that once a month, I would have made, 300,000 that year instead. And so that's one of the most important things you can do is get people from other email lists. And so I have a client who they do around 70 or 80 million a year now. And they track all their stats and their data, and the customers that they get from other people's lists are worth 3 to 4 times more than the customers they get from Facebook over the course of their lifetime, because these are people who are proven to engage with emails. And no matter what anybody ever says, if they think email's dead or they think whatever, well, first off, you ended up on this call because of some emails. And email's never going to die. It's always going to be around. It's the simplest, most basic form of communication that people use for business. They still use, it's the only place where there could be a message from your mom, then a message from your best friend, and then a message from you who's selling them something right there. And what's really important to understand is that no matter how busy your inbox is, no matter how busy anybody's inbox is, there's always typically about 2 or 3 people or 2 or 3 companies. It's typically people who you just open everything that they write. Rusty Moore, I open all of his emails. My buddy Justin Goff, I open a good amount of his emails. And then there's a lot of people who I don't, but all you have to do is become that person. There's a lot of people who read literally every email that I send out. And then there's people who probably read 1 out of every 5, or they read certain ones that they think are relevant to them. But there are people who will read every single thing that you write. So your goal is to become that trusted advisor that they feel inclined to open and click and buy from all the time. And you do that by being an honest, vulnerable human being, by not trying to be this perfect, guru person. I mean, you guys can see here, I'm obviously a very normal human being. I've got a dog my dog like never barks, and then he's barking on a webinar, and I'm not sitting here freaking out. I'm not like, oh my God, everything's going wrong and everything's supposed to be perfect. It's like, no, just be a human being, and people are going to like you a lot more when you talk about your imperfections and share the rough edges of your life. People don't connect with perfect people. People don't, when you look at whether it's God or, pagan religions of gods, they don't feel connected to God so much as they respect and revere them, because God's perfect and we're not. And the more you try to be perfect, the more people end up being repulsed by you. And it's those stories that you don't want to share. Those are the ones that create the best connections. And it's sort of the shortcut to building an incredible following and an audience is to just tell stories that scare you. Because if it scares you, it's probably going to connect with people. I send out, I don't know, how many of you guys here have read the Poseidon story? Just put me if you have. People really, just me's flying in. So a ton of people here have read that story. And when people meet me and and they've read that story, it's this bond that they have immediately. It's a 2,000 word story that you don't think anybody's going to read a 2,000 word email, but they do, and they cry and they feel connected to me. And well, they've seen the video. I made a video about it. It's a 9-minute video on Facebook, which that's essentially like the length of The Godfather for a Facebook video. And it's been seen 9 million times. And I have people every day messaging me, oh my God, I'm crying. Oh my God, this changed my life. Thank you so much for sharing this. This is an incredible story, all of this stuff. And it's a story that's hard for me to tell. And I tell it when I speak on stage. I normally tell it at the beginning of this presentation. I didn't today. But it's a really powerful story, and people resonate with me, especially if they have a dog. Now I'm not just another asshole trying to teach people how to make money. I'm a real human being who cares about, animals and whatever. But it's really, and there's a point to that story, and I'll just briefly sort of tell you now, is Poseidon would have 100%, he would have been dead if I didn't have money. It cost $10,000 to save his life over the first week of having him. And if I wasn't wealthy, he'd be dead. And so whenever people think, well, money's not that important, and money's this, it's important. It changes your life. Having money gives you the opportunity to do the things you want to do, and to help people, and to save lives, and to do stuff that really matters. So to me, money isn't just some vanity tool. It's not something to just buy Lamborghinis and nice houses and stuff. I live in quite a nice place. I have a pretty nice car, but I don't have a bunch of flashy shit. It's just not something that I really care as much about. But there's a lot of amazing stuff that I get to do with that money that I just couldn't do otherwise. And, this is really important, is almost every single person in the world asks themselves one question every single day, which is, actually, I'm curious, what do you guys think the question is? Some of you guys already know this if you've been through the Money Morning product and stuff, but I'll give you a second, see if you guys know the question or know the answer. What is the question that people have to ask? How did Man United get so shit? I hate Man United, so I'm very happy about that. No, everybody asks the question, can I afford it? They're always asking, can I afford this? And that's how people live their lives. Before they eat a meal, can I afford this? Before they go on a trip, can I afford this? Before they buy a drink at a bar, can I afford this? And that's a question that's running through everybody's life almost every day. And a few years ago, I stopped having to ask that question, partially because I also dealt with a lot of the emotional issues around money. But outside of doing really ridiculous things, I can pretty much do whatever I want. And it's a completely different level of freedom. And I made a promise to myself, it must have been 2 or 3 years ago, that I wasn't going to let money dictate my decisions. So if there's something that I want to do, I'm going to do that thing. I'm not going to let money be the difference. And so what I ask is, if I want to do something sort of crazy monetarily, I don't say, well, can I afford it? I say, how can I afford it? And I figure out a way. So my buddy and I took this private jet from New York to Vegas to go back from this trip, and it was $24,000. And he was like, all right, well, how can we write this off and make this trip worthwhile, where it's not just 24 grand, gone in 5 hours. And so we recorded a video on the plane and launched this freelancer freedom workshop. And we ended up paying for the whole thing in a 2-day workshop. So it's really, it's really important to shift your mindset into thinking, how can I afford things, rather than can I afford things? And so that's part of my goal. And I think my purpose in this world is to help people stop having to ask the question, can I afford it? And it's really important to me, because I realize, happiness is genuinely, it is unfortunately quite a bit easier when you have more money. Okay. So that was a bit of a tangent, but I'm really happy to have gone into it. So there's a few ways to create your specific 1-hour workday. One is to sell other people's products. This is what I recommend. If you're just starting out, sell other people's products. There's no point in creating your own. When you create your own stuff, you got to write a sales page. You have to have customer service. You have to have the product. You have to do all this stuff. And you can, and I actually, when you sign up for the 1-hour workday, you get something that teaches you how to create a product in 2 hours. But I still recommend just selling other people's products to start because they have proven sales pages. And this is how this works. If you don't understand how the affiliate stuff works, if you are selling, so my friend made a ton of money selling greens products, and he didn't own any of the greens powders. And the company would pay him around $100 for every sale he made. Now they may only be making, 110 or 70 or $150. They are literally paying him more money than they're paying themselves as a company because they know the lifetime value of those people. So you can literally get paid more than the company themselves is getting paid. And you can leverage a company who's literally doing tens of millions of dollars, all of their assets, all of their employees, and all of their stuff in order to basically make a bunch of money. And I got to mute someone here. Edwin, you had your volume on. So that's the easiest way to start doing this. Second is to sell your own products and other people's. I occasionally do affiliate promotions and they do really well, but I only do affiliate promotions of products that I really believe in, which there aren't that many. So that limits me, but I find it more important to maintain trust than to overstep that trust. And so, this is something that I've said a lot, is it takes, it can take minutes, days, weeks, months, years to build trust, and it only takes seconds to lose it. So I've stepped over a lot of dollar bills to pick up pennies over my time. There were a lot of ways that I could have unethically made money and lost trust. But because I developed that trust over time, those pennies turned into $5, $10, $20 bills. And it's really important to maintain those ethics and that trust, because not just for the sake of making money, but because if you don't feel good about how you've made money, you're going to unconsciously find ways to lose that money because you don't feel like you deserve it. And I got a lot of friends who've had days, they make 20, 30, 40 grand in a day, and then they go blow 10 grand that night because they don't actually feel that they're worthy of that money. And it's important to feel like you are. And then what you can do is you can end up outsourcing this work, have somebody else write the emails, have somebody else build the list, and you can actually just sit back and do very little work and continue to make money. This is what my friend, Mr. X, as we're calling him, did. And he sold his business for high six figures, and he didn't really do any of the work after the initial phases. So once you've learned how to do this yourself, you can just pay other people to do it for you and build, you could have 5 or 10 of these going at once. So you can do this all yourself. Totally, what I've taught you here is a legitimate strategy for building a business. You get traffic, you put them on a list, and you send them stuff that they want to receive. And you can go and follow that model. But my recommendation is that you let me hold you by the hand as you create this almost passive income source, and let me show you how I've created multiple 7-figure businesses doing this. Because why not have a mentor and have somebody helping you along the way? Because the biggest thing is, I've spent now millions on traffic and products and all these things, and I've made all sorts of mistakes, and you basically don't have to make them if you just go through the stuff that I'm teaching. As well as, what's really important is to pick the right niche. And that's why within the 1 hour workday training, there's like 3 or 4 hours just on picking the right niche. Because if you pick the wrong space, it can be really tough to succeed. And you have to go through these sort of categories and make sure that it fits in as the right space. And if you get that right, it's almost hard not to succeed. So if you're already making money online, this course will pay for itself just with the email trainings that are in here. There's some really incredible email training. If you guys here, if any of you know about it, we're doing a $10,000 workshop again in January. People pay 10 grand happily to come learn about email for 2 days. And there's some of the stuff, obviously not the same stuff that I teach for 10,000, but some of my best stuff is inside of this program. And the only other way to get my highest level stuff is to come to the $10,000 workshop. Austin Dixon is a guy who had a list. He already had a little list, and he was doing, of course I can't see this number now because my mouse is lost. But he was doing 7 grand a month, and now he added another 5 grand a month just in the first few weeks of joining the 1 hour workday. So he essentially doubled his income right away. So if you're already doing well online and you're making some money, this is going to help accelerate that very quickly. And if you're just starting out, you're going to be able to build something within 30 to 60 days or even faster, which you'll see in just a sec. But this is Ron Mackey. This is my boy, the football coach. And he said, why didn't I do it sooner? I should have joined the one I worked at as soon as I saw the offer. I have every single product Ian Stanley's put out and seen at least a 4x ROI. Never pulled the trigger on this membership until last month. Let me tell you, I've 10x my investment in 3 weeks. The information I've learned from pricing products, copywriting, all this stuff. And let me just pull this up here on my Instagram. This message from him is pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but can you read that there? It says, hey man, just want to let you know I grossed the 100K mark and you're a huge reason why. Thanks for everything you do. And I said, more than a teacher's salary, huh? He said, hell yeah, I might be quitting teaching soon. And I'm just like, I'm so happy for you. You know, if that's what he wants to do, that's pretty amazing that he gets to do that now. And he said, the other things I do, blew his freaking mind. They work. He's not a master copywriter or salesman. I'm a high school math teacher and football coach who sells digital information to other high school coaches. But with Ian's help, I've been able to, and this is really like, this is the stuff that makes me feel very good about what I do, is he's able to pay off his wife's student loans, pay off his student loans, pay off his car loan, start a retirement fund. And that's pretty amazing because he's a teacher and he's making more in a month from his side business than a lot of teachers are making in, 6 months. And so he says, if you're on the fence about joining it, you need to jump off, get the program. It's the best thing he's done for his business. He's pissed he didn't do it sooner. So these are what I call the 3 phases of income. And depending on where you're at right now, I want you to have the opportunity to achieve one of these 3 things. So for a lot of people, just earning an extra $1,000 per month is actually pretty life-changing money. And I'm a little disillusioned to this now in my life because it doesn't seem like that much. And then I remember that, and there have been times in my life where, man, an extra $1,000 a month would have been unbelievable. And that alone can totally change a family's life and give them freedom and different stuff. So if that's, something you want, that's definitely doable. And then this is something I call 212, which is basically the boiling point for water is 212 degrees. And if you make $212 a day, you end up in about $73,000 a year in that range. And they've done a lot of studies. $73,000 a year is the point where happiness does not grow as your money grows. So the most important indicator of your happiness is actually autonomy. So the ability to do what you want and to not be a slave to somebody else, essentially. And then the second is having at least around $70,000 a year income, depending on where you live, because that allows you to meet your base needs and not have to be as worried about money. And so the goal here is to just get to 212 a day. So if you're selling a product that you're getting $100 commission on, all you have to do is make 2 sales a day and you're making 70 grand a year. And for a lot of people, that's enough money to quit a job, to, change their life and do things dramatically different. And then for other people, it's, developing a 6 to 7 figure income. So whether it's, my initial goal was always to make, hit that 6-figure year. And I did that, a few years back now. And it was great. And then you realize you're like, well, if I can keep making more money and I don't have to work more, then why not? So it just depends on your goals. Certain niches, you're only going to be able to make 100 grand a year. Certain ones you can make more. It depends on what you want to do. But these are all definitely possible things using this system. And so here's how you get there. And I'm not going to go as deep into all this stuff right now. But basically, module 1 is your ideal day. So I think it's really important to understand what you want in your life and then to create that, because otherwise you're just making money for the sake of making money and hoping it's going to make you happy. And that's unlikely to actually occur. So I basically take you through, it's like a 2-hour full training on this concept of taking you through your ideal day. There's some meditation within there and helping you really pinpoint what it is that you want, because as you start to see what it is that you want, something in your brain called the reticular activation system. And the reticular activation system, I don't know if any of you guys here have done my money magnet meditation. Crazy things happen for people when they do that. They just start finding money in random places. And part of the reason why it works is actually scientifically proven, and it's this reticular activation system. So you basically start to see the things that you prime your mind with. So if you get a new car, let's say you get a Jag F-Type, right? Now suddenly you start to see them all over the place and you go, oh my God, there's so many more on the road. There's not more on the road. You're just now aware of that vehicle. And so that's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with creating your ideal day. If you visualize these things that you want, your brain actually starts to see opportunities that other people don't. It's actually kind of funny. About 3 days ago, I was walking with Poseidon and with my girlfriend, and we're walking down this path in Santa Monica, and she's walking ahead. She's maybe 5-6 steps ahead of me at this point. And I think I'd stopped to tie my shoe or something. And then I'm walking and she walks right by it, and I look down, and it was $1. It's only $1 bill, but it was $1 bill on the ground. And she literally walked past it. She did not see it. And I did. And there's a reason for that. And it's because I prime my mind and to attract money. And so money just finds me. It's very weird. But it's the same thing with creating your ideal day. And so that's why it's super important to actually think that through, as opposed to just sort of haphazardly hoping that your ideal day falls into your lap. This is the really important piece. Like I said, if you get this wrong, it's tough to succeed. If you get this right, it's very easy. And that's picking the right niche and making sure that you pick something small enough and that fits into these categories. And so we have these sort of criteria that I teach to make sure that you pick the right niche. Because like I said, if you get a niche, whatever you want to say, if you get that wrong, you sort of stuffed. And so Module 3 is how to actually collect the emails and how to get people to give you their email address. And then so this is really important too, is that once you invest in the 1 hour workday, you've got to decide if you're going to continue to invest monetarily in traffic or if you want to do it for free. And what's really cool is Facebook basically has a system right now where they will pay to run traffic for you. And I had a guy who's a total expert on this come in and do a teaching. It's really remarkable. And you'll go through and learn how to do that. And so if you don't want to spend any money on traffic, you don't have to. You can use this strategy. However, if you're willing to spend money, it's always just going to speed up the process. So, I recommend it. There's some Q&A stuff to help you go through. And then I had the people who run my traffic did a class on how to run paid traffic. And then there's a great training on how to write emails really fast. It's super important to learn how to write quickly because you can write emails in 7 minutes a day, and that's your whole day. You pop out an email, 7 minutes, go about your day, do whatever you want. And then again, this is where, like I said, if you've already got a really good, if you've already got a list or a business of any sort, it's definitely going to pay for itself. I used basically, my list is only 3,000 people, and it was people who were copywriters and people who wanted to make money online. And I used that tiny list to build a 6-figure a month business in the self-development space, teaching workshops on how to deal with your deeper mental and emotional blocks. So if you don't have to have this big list. If you have the right strategies, you can do incredibly well. And that's stuff that's taught within this system. So here's what you're going to get. I'm going to roll through this here, the ideal day training. And these values are actually like what I really believe these things are worth. It's not just some randomly picked number. Ideal day training, niche selection, email capture, the free traffic system, which is genuinely worth $1,000. The email traffic system. This is super valuable, learning how to get emails from other people's lists, $2,000 value. Paid traffic. I mean, I pay my guys a lot more than $1,000, but whatever. How to write fast emails, 700. List monetization strategies. Just that alone is something that you just can't get elsewhere. 3,000. So total value here, $8,876. But wait, there's more. That's my cheesy infomercial guy voice. And so what's really important to understand about delivering products online is that so many people, they sell these products and they're like, oh man, you got to check it out. It's sick, bro. I got 48 hours of modules in my product. It'll take you 3 full days of spending 24 hours a day just to get through my product. I have so much content. And you're like, okay, well, could you teach me the same thing in like 8 hours? Because I don't want to spend 48 hours going through your content. And so what most people do is they go, oh, it's all about, I got to over deliver, bro. I got to over deliver. But really all they're doing is overwhelming. And there's all of this content and all of this stuff there. And so it's not about the person that they want to succeed. It's really just about them. If I were to say, here's all this extra shit, that'd be about me trying to look special and trying to make you think I'm important. It's not about actually helping you. And my goal is to help you, not to help myself here. So it's designed for your success, not just to make me look cool, which is why this is really important. These bonuses are one of the most important pieces of this entire product. And it's really, really important that you understand that these are things that are going to help you succeed faster. This is not new information or more information to overwhelm you. It is templates in order to allow you to succeed much quicker than if you didn't have them. So you're going to get a done for you, fill in the blanks autoresponder that you can use immediately to plug into an email software. This is genuinely it's actually, technically it would be a $15,000 value because you get 10 emails and I charge $1,500 per email, but I put $5,000 here just to be reasonable, I suppose. But it doesn't matter what niche you're in, you can go in, fill in the blanks, change it up, and have an autoresponder that sends out emails automatically for you to start generating money essentially right away. Bonus 2 is a fill in the blanks landing page template. So this is your actual email capture page. So when you send people from an ad or from Facebook or from Instagram or YouTube or blog, whatever it is, you want to make sure that the page that they're landing on is actually converting anywhere from 25 to 50%. And that's really easy to do if you just fill in the blanks on these templates as opposed to trying to do it yourself. How to generate cash flow without spending a dime. This is just a training where basically if you wanted to make some money quickly, you can go through this and make some money and then use that to buy traffic and fund, your assets. And let me make sure this is all the right thing. Yeah. So 5-figure launches to tiny lists. This is the exact thing that I used to make money from Derek's list. My very first time I launched a product, I made 12 grand in that week, 6,000 for me, 6,000 for him. And so then I've used it to do 50,000 to 100,000 in a week, same methodology. And you can do this without owning your own list to start. Then there's the 3-product formula. This is basically my long-term money method. And it's a front end plus a high ticket back end plus recurring income equals boats and hoes, which if you've seen Step Brothers, that's where that comes from. That's a $500 value. So that's really just how to build a long-term business. And then this is really cool, is how to create an info product in 2 hours. People love this training. It's really valuable to be able to create products quickly. And then bonus 7 here, this is the 30-30 momentum method. This is sort of the basis of the actual 1-hour workday and why it's called that. And it's basically you spend 30 minutes generating traffic, 30 minutes monetizing that traffic. So that's where the 1-hour concept comes from. And so this is one of my favorite things about this product is you get this piece of paper to print out, and it's basically got these things that you fill in on the little actions you take every day. And one of the most important things you can do to make money is to have great habits. And the best habit you can have is the habit of building momentum. Because when you have momentum, it's harder to stop than it is to keep going. And so we have these little printouts and it just feels really good. You're like, oh my God, I made $50 today. Oh, I made $100 today. And you keep knocking off these check marks and it feels really great. So you're going to get all of this, the 1-hour workday system, the done for you fill in the blanks, autoresponder, landing page templates, cash flow generator, 5-figure launches, 3-product formula, info product, 30-30 method. And again, all of these bonuses, it's really important to understand they're designed to help you succeed, not to help try and teach you more stuff that's going to overwhelm you. So if you're actually a very, driven type person, you could technically go through this over the next few days and have a new 1-hour workday business ready to go just by using the autoresponder templates and the landing page templates and stuff. So what is the investment for this? Well, again, this is the same system I've used to build multiple 7-figure businesses. I've spent millions on traffic and testing, hundreds of thousands of dollars literally for masterminds and coaches and courses and all that. I've spent time with all these people that are best in the world at this, and I'm giving you all of that knowledge. You could come to my house. This is totally open to do this. If you want to pay for a consulting day, it's $9,000 for the day. You can come out to my house, we hang out on my roof, work through your business. That's $9,000. This program is $3,000. You can get it any day of the week for $3,000. It's basically a system for how to build a business in 60 days that'll make you money for the rest of your life. And it's really important to focus on the long-term value. And so just so you guys know here, I do occasionally offer this product to other lists for $2,000. So I do this presentation and it's $2,000 and that's the deal. But for you guys right now, it's Christmas. It's about to be 2020. And I think it's really important sometimes when there's a new year coming to make a commitment to yourself that you're going to, here's the reality. Next year is not going to be different. If your life's not how you want it to be, it's not going to change unless you change, unless you do something. And so that's why I'm doing this for just $1,500. There's no more dropping the price or anything. It is $1,500. You can get that right now. And let me give you guys the link here because there is a fast action bonus here. And I also want to see the comments here. Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, if you guys want to, oh, this is funny. I once tried to get in. A day later, I was sitting on the floor in airport books by the entrance. Someone threw change at me, I guess. That's funny. Let me see. Oh, the deliverability knowledge is fire. 85% of my emails get 30% open rates with higher since landing for. Awesome, Josh. I'm super stoked to hear that. Yeah, so like I'll tell you guys, if you guys get the product today, I'll give you the money magnet meditation for free. I'm happy to do that. Just make sure you tell me and I'll add it into your membership area. How does the 1 hour workday differ from Ben Settle's 10-minute workday program? I've never been through Ben Settle's program. I know Ben. Ben's a good guy. But I will say, I'd say the biggest difference between Ben and I is that I've built multiple different companies in different niches. And I've basically made most of my money not teaching marketing. I've made most of my money doing marketing. And a lot of these coaches online basically write emails about how to make money writing emails. And it's a lot easier to do than it is to start a real business. And I've helped tons of people go through the same process and start businesses in all sorts of weird little niches. And so I'd say I don't know Ben's system, but I do know that the traffic side of stuff is very, very good in my product. Same with the email stuff. So I would say that I can't say exactly how it's different, but I can say that it's 10 times more realistic, I guess, than a 10-minute workday, or 6 times more realistic if it's a 60-minute thing. And let me get you guys the link here because there is a fast action. Hold on, let me stop sharing for just 1 sec. And then I'm gonna go back to this. I should have had this ready here before. And there's something that I also want to touch on here. So first off, for the first 5 people who show up, we'll do a private group coaching call. Not next week, but at the start of the new year because I'm traveling and stuff. So we will do that once we. Of course, where is this bloody thing? We're going to be doing the. We'll do that call where I basically go through it personally with you guys, make sure that you pick the right niche and all that. And so you'll have time before then to make sure that you actually can. Okay, hold on. Let me just put this in here for you guys. Okay, so there's the link. And so basically the first 5 people who sign up will actually get a private group coaching call where we're going to go through your niche, make sure you're picking the right stuff. And it'll just be me and you and 4 other people. And it's just a time for me to answer your questions, work with you personally to help ensure that you succeed with this. So that's a huge value right there. The people who do that are more likely to succeed just because obviously there's this genuine help right away, which really helps get you off on the right foot. And then let me pull this back up for you guys here and share this screen. Sorry, it's tougher when I only have the one monitor right now. And then if you guys want, I can show you how fast you can write an email that makes money. If that's something you want to see in real time, I can do that for you. But let me go through this. So this is a question I like to ask people is, if I were to, let me move this here. If I were to say, give me $1,500 today and I'll give you 12,000 at the end of the year, what would you do? And for most people, they would say, I would do that. And that's, sort of the low end of what people end up achieving is an extra $1,000 a month is definitely worth $1,500. And I think it's really important to understand that. And like I said, first 5 people here get a private group coaching call with me. And this is what I call my unusual 300% guarantee. So this product works 100% of the time for 100% of the people who apply it 100%. So if you go through and you truly follow this training and go through it and you go through everything and you show me you send us your landing pages and your traffic and these things and you're not making any money, we'll refund you. But it's important that I make guarantees like that because I want you to succeed. If I just say, no questions asked, no matter what, just get your money back, then what happens is people give up and they quit. And that's not what I want. I want you to actually go through this. I want you to succeed. I want you to use the stuff that I'm teaching to build a business that makes you money for the rest of your life or that you sell. And so it's really, really important that you actually do some work. But like I said, at most it's an hour a day. That's something that everybody can find. Even if all you do is put in 20 minutes a day to start, or you put in 2 hours a week, that's plenty to get going and to start making good money or to increase your current income. On top of that, I'm going to give you guys my storytelling masterclass. Stories are a huge part of how I make my money. And so I like to teach storytelling and it's fun, man. It's super fun. So this is a question, and I sort of asked this, but I'd love to hear from you guys. If your life were exactly the same in 6 months from now, would you be okay with that? And it's okay if you are, if you're like, yep, I would be super amped and that'd be great. No problem. But I'm curious, if your life were exactly the same in 6 months, would you be okay with that? And feel free to put it in the chat. There's no shame here. There's no, the reality is almost everybody feels that way. And so what I'll say is if you don't change now, if you don't do something in the next 6 months that's different, then your life isn't going to change. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get to that point that you want it to get to. So my recommendation is to jump into this, take advantage of it, start this program in the new year, build a new business, and see what happens. Take the risk. And like I said, the risk is actually, there's no risk because if you don't succeed with this, if you go through and don't succeed, then I'm going to give you your money back anyway. And there is something else that I've done here. And I don't know if you guys have clicked through to that page yet, but you will see, okay, and we've already got some people coming through here. Michael Kelly, excited to have you in the program. And real quick, I want to make sure I tell you guys this, is that there is a payment plan. And I don't know if I have it in here. No, I don't. So this is something I've only tried this once before. And basically what it is I'm giving you guys the opportunity to pay $800 today. And then you pay the next 800 in, it's either 30 or 60 days. I actually don't know how we set it up on this one. We might've done the 60-page one, the 60-day one. So let me just look. I want to make sure that I tell you guys the right thing here. Well, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's 60 days actually is what we did before. So basically what you get is you pay 800 and then you don't pay the other 800 for 60 days. So you'll have had 60 days to implement this, to succeed with the program, to make money before you make your second payment. Yes, you end up paying $100 more than the people who pay $1,500 straight up. And there's a reason for that. I always, no matter what, will always reward people who take big action and who are willing to commit fully to a program right away. It doesn't make you a better person. I'm not saying I like you more. I'm just saying that I like to reward people who are willing to commit fully to something right from the start. And I always give some sort of monetary incentive for that. So if you pay the 800 today, yes, you'll pay an extra 100 in 60 days. And like I said, I need to make sure it's 60 and not 30. But I do this, and it is a risk on my end, because reality is you can be a dickhead and, not cancel that credit card or do whatever. And there are people that do that. And I'm okay with that, because I know that if you follow through and do the work, you're going to make money. So you'll basically be paying for the second half with the profits that you've already made. If you do the work, again, you do have to do some work on this. I'm not sitting here saying click 3 buttons, make $1 million. I'm saying do some stuff that's important and it will pay off if you do it. So that's really basically it. Like I said, I'm happy to write an email real quick for you guys and show you how simple it can be. Is that something you would? Okay, so you guys, it is in 30 days. So the 30 days is plenty, especially with this new year coming up for you guys to succeed. Obviously should have made sure. I didn't know what my tech guy set that up. We did 60 days once before. I actually prefer 30 days, to be honest. And I think that's why I did that, because I want you guys to start right away. And like I said, for those of you guys who are signing up right now, you're going to get a jumpstart call early in January to get you guys off on the right foot and to get you guys taking action right away. So you guys want me to write an email? Is this Anthony Lemke? What's up, dude? You on this call, man? It's great to see you here. Oh, damn. You have the same initials. Teresa, that's great. I love that. What you just said there. I know it's a private message. Don't read it out loud. But, you guys, I think this is actually a good little teaching moment. Is somebody just wrote me a message and they said, I'm going to try. They said they feel like every time I make this offer, they're not prepared for it. He said, but I want to try and change this idea of can I afford it to how can I afford it? So look, if you go and you use the cash flow piece that I teach you and you go and get one client to pay you $1,000 or to pay you $2,000, you've paid for the product right there. And so again, don't look at can I afford this? It's how can I afford this? And if you do things right and you follow the system, you will pay for the system. So again, don't ask, can I afford this? Ask how, and make it happen. And that's why there's a payment plan available, is because I know not everybody just has 1,500 laying around. But if you're really committed, people can find $800. And I'm not that person who's going to say, oh, you're already, 50 grand in debt and this is your last thing and all this and do this. That's up to what you do with your money. Is frankly, it's not my responsibility. It's not up to me to tell you to spend your money on this or not to, but be sensible is what I'd recommend. So let me share my screen and I'll write an email for you guys. And we can use, if you guys want to pick an example for me, you can, or I can just write something for you. Actually, I'll show you I'll do something for this challenge. Like I said, we're going to do this writing challenge coming up. Let's see. So this is how I write, by the way. I know it's chaotic for most of you to see this. These are just plain text files. You can tell that I'm not technologically advanced. So this is how I like to do. Sometimes I'll do 2 examples. For now, I'm just going to do one really quick one just to show you how simple it can be. But I'm looking at sales. That's why it's on that. Okay. All right, guys. Hold on. And so the product is 1,500, just so you guys know, there might be a typo on the page. It says 1,000. Just want you guys to understand that it is $1,500. I don't know why it says that. James must have made a mistake. That's okay. He's a human. Okay, so this would be my subject line. Want to write more. Over the past few weeks, I've been following a little writing challenge my buddy and I made up. He has to write 750 words a day on weekdays. If he doesn't do it, he owes me $20 for each day he misses. I have to write 2,000 words a day on weekdays. I miss the day. IO. Sorry, this position I'm writing in is really weird, how I'm sitting on this guy. And actually, so what I'll put in here too is just my position here. Yeah. Cramping up. It's even probably cool. That's it. There's an email that took what, 3 minutes? That's it. So this is something, and I actually may just send this out even today or tomorrow, and just say, do you want to write more? Over the past few weeks, I've been following a little writing challenge my buddy and I made up, and so this is how I would test out if I want to launch a new product. I already sort of accidentally started writing the sales page for it yesterday or 2 days ago. I basically went into why English class makes you worse at writing, and wrote this whole thing about how we basically got schooled or got screwed over by the school system on making us good writers. So yeah, so is that pretty easy, guys? Would you agree that that's about as simple as it gets? You see how fast I wrote that? Now, this email could be worth, probably 10 to 20,000 for me, just because if we launch this, we're going to get probably a good amount of people to join it. It's something I really want to do kind of either way. I like the idea of running these challenges, especially at the start of the new year. Something like writing is such an incredible habit. And even if you're not writing books or emails or anything, it's like, it's so cool. And so basically what I would do is within this challenge, just so you guys know, I would basically be doing a live video each day with different strategies on how to write faster and how to enjoy it more and all that stuff, and go through that. So there'll be accountability in a group and everything and all that. So it'll be pretty fun. But yeah, does that seem easy to you guys? You see how fast that is? There's nothing incredible about this email, right? I'm not using some fancy copyright. I'm not, writing anything amazing. It's just really simple and it communicates effectively. And that's it. Like this email would do quite well. And I'll actually show you guys something here. So look, this is written at a first grade level. You do not have to be, a genius. It actually is. It takes skill to get down to you want to write at about a third grade level. That's where you'll typically make around the most money. If you can get lower, grade one, I never get grade one. I'm actually really pretty impressed by that. It's super simple. You don't have to be, a genius. You don't have to be a professional writer to write emails that make money. If you can write emails to a friend, you can make a living. Seriously. So, yeah. Any questions from you guys? We've already been on here an hour and a half. I know it's Sunday. I appreciate you guys sticking around. Almost all of you guys who started out here are still on here. So happy to answer any final questions you might have. For those of you who've signed up, I'm happy to see you on the call, the private coaching call. And there's still some spots, I think 2 spots available for that if you want to get that bonus. Any questions? Just going to sit here silently. What is your Instagram contact? My Instagram handle is Becoming Ian Stanley. At Becoming Ian Stanley. Put that in there. Yeah, so if you guys actually, honestly, so the fastest way, if you guys have specific questions that you would want me to answer, you can just let me know. And on Instagram, you can feel free to shoot me a message. There's the link again to go buy the product. It's going to be at this price until I think we set it up for Christmas Day. So, look, I understand it's a weird time in the holidays where people are either, some people are already spending a lot of money, and so it's a weird time. But the reality is that a lot of people are good at buying gifts for other people and not so much for themselves. And I feel like the greatest gift you can give yourself is complete freedom in your life. And so if you're in a spot where that's not something you have, or you just want more freedom, then I really believe this is one of the best paths to get that. And so I'd say get this for yourself as a gift for Christmas, to have an incredible 2020. So this offer will be available to then it goes back up to 3,000. And so if you want to save $1,500, I'd recommend you jump in before then. Any final questions? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up. My parents have the loudest clock in the world. I literally had to take it off the wall, move it to the other side of the house, and I can still hear it when I'm not talking. It's crazy. I don't know how that would drive me mental. All right. Doesn't look like you guys have any questions. There's still quite a few of you just hanging out. So do you have anything you expect or want me to do? I'll take any requests for the next minute or so, and then otherwise I'm going to roll. Cool. Yeah, this was fun. Thank you guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's an interesting way to spend an hour and a half on Sunday. And now I'm going to go probably play some tennis or go for a run. So I hope you guys have awesome holidays. I hope to see you guys in the 1 hour workday. If not, I still like you. And feel free to shoot me a message if you have any questions. You can either email me, ian@feedthewolf.com, or shoot me a message on Instagram. Max, aside from that drill, do you have any other favorite writing exercises? Yeah, so as a writing exercise, and this is something I think I'm going to put in this upcoming challenge, is prompts. So sometimes you just take a sentence and you just start. Here's the most useful thing I can ever say about writing. Writing begets more writing. The more you write, the more you can write. And when you start typing, so I don't stop typing. I don't know if you guys noticed while I was writing that. I don't stop typing. I don't stop to think. I don't stop to judge. I just write. And I allow the words to come out. If I do judge them, I just listen to the judgment and then I keep going. By listen, I mean, I hear it, but I don't listen. I don't let it change what I'm doing. I understand that the only way to become a great writer is to be willing to write shit. You have to be willing to write things that aren't very good. And ironically, now at this point in my writing career, I rarely do much editing. I never really did much editing, but even when I think it's garbage, I read it back and I'm like, oh, it's actually pretty good. Not because I think I'm special or really good at writing, but I mean, I'm pretty good. But part of it's these drills and the ability to just stream of consciousness write without judging myself. So one of the drills that I would say, and this is a cool, I call it the Sean Connery writing secret. I don't know who here has seen the movie Finding Forrester. It's from the 2000s, I think, and it's Sean Connery. And there's this kid, Sean Connery is obviously this old white Scottish guy who lives in this, he's like a hermit basically. And there's this young black basketball player guy who actually really likes writing. And he finds out that Forrester is this incredible writer who he ends up going to his house, and Sean Connery is taking him through these writing exercises. And what he did is he had him start typing out a story that Sean Connery had already written. So all he's doing is basically copying the story, and he's on a typewriter, right? And he's like, dun, dun, and he's barely hitting the keys. And Sean Connery, he goes, hit the keys, God damn it, pound the keys. And the kid starts to, hit the keys harder, and he goes, that shit. And he goes, you're the man now, dog. And that's become this widely used meme of you're the man now, dog. But he's like, press the keys and type and don't stop. And so what you can do is you can take somebody else's stories and just start writing them. Literally word for word, just write. Because what happens is, and so this is what I'll do. If I really don't feel like writing and I don't know what I want to write about, I just type and I go, I don't feel like writing. I just know that I'm supposed to keep writing right now because it's good for me and I like doing it overall. And I'd start doing it. And then what happens is, so this happened, and I should probably be a bit weary about showing this. So I basically started writing this, and I didn't know what I wanted to write about. And so I was like, I should make something clear. I didn't know what I was going to write about. And then suddenly it just turned into this thing about English class. And the only reason I was able to write that was because I just started typing. My brain is used to, when I start typing, it wants to keep typing. So all I have to do is start. The hardest part of writing is starting. So, yeah. Oh, I've never lost my documents in text edit. So that's terrifying. I've been better at saving most of these. So let's see. Okay. Any other final questions? Like I said, if I do this challenge, I'll be teaching you guys these different writing exercises and stuff. It should be really fun. I love writing. I mean, it's so incredibly rewarding as a human. I think every person, whether you're a business person or not, whether you're a writer or not, should write a little bit every day, because even if it's just journaling, you learn so much about yourself and you grow so much from it. So, okay, that's it. Like I said, save $1,500 for the next few days. Go sign up now, and hope to see you inside. All right, everyone. See you later.